How about that? Can you hear me now? How about that? There's such a delay. Can you hear me now? How about that? There's such a delay. My grandson actually uninstalled my streaming software. How about that? There's such a delay. My grandson actually uninstalled my streaming software. How about that? There's such a delay. My grandson actually uninstalled my streaming software. How about that? I think I'm getting a crazy echo. There's such a delay. My grandson actually uninstalled my streaming software. I think I'm getting a crazy echo. There's such a delay. My grandson actually uninstalled my streaming software. I think I'm getting a crazy echo. There's such a delay. My grandson actually uninstalled my streaming software. I think I'm getting a crazy echo. There's such a delay. Woo! Is that better? What did he do to my computer? Hello, is this working? I'm showing two inputs. Let's see, audio input. Give me this one. Okay, how's that? Oh, is it better? Did I get rid of the reverb? Is it time for a shot? Christy Meeps. Oh my gosh. I feel honored. I think I got it now, hopefully. My son uninstalled the software, and in doing so, he uninstalled all my defaults. So, this extremely expensive headset I got, and has been reduced to nothing. And also, there's a horrible delay in chat, so I'm trying to see if it's sounding better. Can't believe Christy Meeps is here. And B. Getty and JK Pioneer, Bobby Brass. Jay Webb is a new name to me. I had a story to tell, and I don't know, is Susie Fenhaven over? Because I tried to pull up her channel and it wouldn't pull up on my computer. I don't know what's going on. All my fans are off. And I can't hear myself, so I don't know. This is a Jabra headset. It's actually made for industrial use. I got it for free, but it's like a $300 headset. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't stepping on Susie because, like I said, I tried to pull up her channel and it didn't show live, so I didn't know if she was done. And that means a shot. So I had a story to tell because there's been some confusion. Looks like the Ministry of Magic in your office. Does it sound like the Ministry of Magic? I have a small door, a bubblegum machine, Don Juan. So anyway, when I was in the Air Force, I wanted to be a meteorologist, and I figured what better way to do that than to go into the Air Force and get that as my assigned duty. However, when you go through boot camp, they don't always make it easy for you. And I ended up being a munitions inspector, which transferred into a nuclear weapons inspector. And so they sent me to the munitions inspector training campground, which was in Lowry, Pennsylvania, Lowry, Colorado. And there, my wife came to join me, and I didn't know there was any kind of program, so we got my wife an apartment downtown. And after a week or two, the base came and talked to me and said, "Randy, you can't let your wife live in an apartment downtown. We have barracks for spouses." And what that was a big apartment complex that the Air Force paid the rent at, that spouses lived at. And then I could live there during the weekends and stuff when I wasn't on duty. Because as a trainee, I had to live in the barracks. So we switched to that, and we threw mega parties, and I had a very hot Plymouth Aerojet. If you don't know what a Plymouth Aerojet is, it's a nice little car, a little sports car. And we would rent that out on weekends, and we would take the money and we'd buy booze and have parties. And people would drive my car up into the mountains and have races in it and stuff. But it was a beautiful little car, and I'm hoping you guys can hear me. So years later, I get, after I think my tech school took 9 months, and so we lived in this apartment for 9 months, and got shipped overseas, and things happen. So like 30 years later, I go to move to Denver, and I'm looking for a place to live, and I find this little apartment complex that was really dirt cheap, had little efficiency apartments, and as I moved in, I'm like, this place looks really familiar. And it took me probably a month. I went through every correspondence I could find. Of course, at this point, I'd whittled my life down to what could fit into a U-Haul truck. So I didn't have much, but I went through all my old Air Force records. I went through everything, and I finally found the address where my wife and I lived when I was in Lowry. Now, at this point, 30 years later, Lowry has been shut down. It's been turned into a golf course and housing complexes and stuff, and it didn't look familiar at all. And I finally found a letter from my mother-in-law that she sent us when I was in boot camp. Or not boot camp, but training camp. And lo and behold, it was the same apartment that I was living in. I was one floor down and one wing over. And I thought, wow, after 30 years, I come in, I pick a random apartment, and I picked the one that I lived in when I was at Lowry, 30 years earlier. Now, I had a Plymouth Aero Jet. It was a specific Aero model that had black and red paint, and it had some features on it that made it a little more sporty. But yeah, it was a Plymouth Aero, but it was that Plymouth Aero Jet model. And I love that car, I really do. And I always look for one for sale on Craigslist whenever I'm on Craigslist. But yeah, I always thought that was one of the biggest coincidences I've ever lived through, was moving into the same apartment building that I lived in 30 years previously without even recognizing it whatsoever. And then when I finally confirmed that this was the same apartment building, I was like, okay, now I remember the kitchen was like this and the living room was like this, and when we had parties, we had the kitchen has like a window to the living room, and we would like set all the booze up on there, and it was just a kind of amazing to me, and it like all flooded back to me. But yeah, what a coincidence. And I didn't even realize, like, I knew I was in the Lowry neighborhood, but I didn't realize that it was the same apartment building. And I remember when I lived there, you know, we used to have to walk down to the mailboxes, which was across a parking lot and down another parking lot. And I'm doing that one day, and I'm like, this is so familiar to me. And I realized, you know, after I found that letter, that wow, I moved into the same building that I lived in like 30 years previously. And that building, I could probably pull it up. It's just so bizarro. I can't let you see my map because I have a lot of things marked on my map. Oh, where is it? There's Denver Zoo, Washington Park, Cherry Creek, Alameda. There it is. And I moved in to the wing over here, and we lived in the wing over here. And there's the mailbox, and I mean, I didn't even recognize it. But if you look right here, this used to be like the place where I would come out and go to work, and we'd march down to our training thing. But yeah, that's like the strangest coincidence ever. If I zoom out fast enough, you can see all the places I got marked. Boy, this program is hard to handle. The 7 squared is still up because I just haven't changed it. And yeah, I've had a lot to drink tonight. I'm drinking my Kraken. All my ice is melted, but I'm still drinking it. I love the Air Force. I spent the first 3 years of the Air Force at RAF Bentwaters. And if you don't know, there was a big UFO incident there, and I did see a UFO when I was there, and it was one of the freakiest things in my life because I know what I saw can't exist, but I saw it. And I still have nightmares to this day. I have nightmares about what I saw. Yeah, I was on a forklift. I was working the midnight shift, and I was out in the bomb dump, and I saw things in the sky that just can't. Things don't move that way. Things do not exist in reality that way. But I know I saw it with my own eyes, and this juxtaposition of I know it can't exist, and I know I saw it, like collides in my mind, and it gives me nightmares. I still have nightmares about it. Correct the intro to the puzzle book. Which puzzle book? I know I'm working on. Oh, and Kyle Lazars is here. I would like to thank him because I got a package in the mail today. I grew up on this magazine. Correct. I mean, I literally bought every issue I could find. A lot of it was because of this John Severin. I don't know if you can see it, but there's his signature right there. Severin. Anyway, he's the best illustrator. He was the best illustrator. I don't know if he's still alive. But I loved Cracked Magazine, and I bought every issue I could find. And I based my whole life is based on Cracked Magazine. And Kyle Lazars, when he did his, one of his storage units, happened across some Cracked magazines, and he sent them to me. It was very kindly. The postage was unbelievable. I'll have to pay him back for that. Yeah, he did send it to me. I'm working on this. Kind of working on this. I've made charts and stuff, and I just haven't worked on it. I know the ant's already been found, so it's like, and I know I see puzzles in there, like, I know these are puzzles. What else am I working on over here? Xavier marks. I don't know, they keep giving out clues. I think they should just relax and not send out any clues. We got the correct 10 locations. I don't know, did you get the correct 10 locations? That was an evil laugh, wasn't it? There were some things in this, and I looked at it, and I'm like, there are obvious correlations between some things and other things, and I'm like, there's 6 of these, and 6 of these, and 6 of these, and I'm like, there's some kind of code of 6 in here, and I don't know, I'd like to see the solve for the ant, because that'll probably blow the whole thing open. And then there's this page with every code on it, every code. But I just haven't had a chance to like sit down and actually work on it. I did all the preliminary work. I got my Excel spreadsheet out. Speaking of Excel spreadsheets, I got an important announcement to make. Yeah, have a drink. Oh, that's strong stuff. But speaking of Excel spreadsheets, I came across something today. I uploaded all my notes and solves and everything to Google Docs. I enjoy doing Google Docs. I've used it for years. It's a great way to do something, and then I can go to work, and it's there and available to me, and I come home when it's there and available to me. But the big block of code, I uploaded to Google Docs, and I opened it in Google Spreadsheet. And because they were talking about it the other night, and I'm looking, there's something I need to find in this Google Spreadsheet. I'm looking, and I can't find it. So what I did was I downloaded the Excel spreadsheet and opened it in Excel. And I compared the Excel spreadsheet to the Google Docs. And they changed everything. The fonts were changed, some of the symbols were different. So just be warned, if you downloaded the Excel spreadsheet, don't open it in Google Docs, because it was completely different. There was letters that were different. It's like maybe they couldn't translate the fonts and stuff. So good to know. And it drove me crazy for like an hour. I'm like, I know I put this symbol in here, and I looked and I couldn't find it. And lo and behold, I opened the Excel spreadsheet, and I'm like, oh, it's right there where I thought it was. Oh, yeah, the fonts are messed up, but I haven't seen Christy Neeps in forever. Let's see. Yeah, it's been a tough week, man. I tell you. Last week was the holiday, so we had 4-day work week, and this week, I have my job to do, and I'm imaging computers, and I'm doing tickets, but I'm also responsible for the plant floor, which we run 24/7. And man, did I get a lot of calls. Oh, this monitor is broken, this printer is not working, this blah blah blah. And those just, I have to go fix those things, and then it makes me behind in the work I'm supposed to be doing. And they understand that. We have total autonomy in my jobs. My boss says, hey, order these 3 printers and set them up for the D1 door line. And he doesn't look over our shoulder. I just know that, okay, I'm going to order these printers. It may take a week to come in. I go install them. So there's no micromanaging whatsoever. They just say, here's the job, you do it. And I love that. I love that part of the job. And so they know, wow, my cats are fighting right in front of me. Hey, Phoebe! Phoebe! Phoebe's attacking Mike. So I know that, they know that if I got a week's worth of work, that's going to be put behind, because the plant always comes first, and they punch monitors all the time. And so we go out there, and there's a monitor with a fist mark in it, and they're like, oh, it must have got hit by a frame. I'm like, no, it didn't get hit by a frame, someone punched that monitor. We go through monitors like candy. It's just crazy. I can share my Google Drive. Let me do that. Keep in mind the chat is minutes behind me. The little engine that could. Hey. Yeah, could you guys hear the cats fighting? Because they normally don't do that, because there's a cat tree right here. And Michael gets up on this is Michael's cat tree, and that's Phoebe's cat tree. And Phoebe actually jumped up on Michael's cat tree, and so they were fighting. I have 4 cat trees, 2 are Michael's and 2 are Phoebe's. And they actually keep them separate. And so it's not often. Phoebe's usually the aggressor and will jump up on Michael's. Phoebe's the evil kitty. She is the one responsible for all the cuts and scrapes on my hands. Michael's just chill. I hope you guys can hear me okay. I also I always get something salty, so when I'm drinking, I pop them. So I have pecans. Or not pecans, pistachios. What else can we do? Any questions? I know Carlos always has questions, but I can't answer them. I was going to do a video. I better not talk about that. I love that there's absolutely no micromanaging in my job. Plus, I work the third shift, and I'm the only person in the entire office that works this third shift. So I go in, and it's a 3-story office building, and we call it the link hallway that links to the factory. And I am the only one in the office. And I've done stuff like for a week. I wanted to pee in every toilet, and I went through. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 bathrooms, men and women's, and each one has a different number of stalls and everything. And I spent a week. I wanted to pee in every toilet, and I ended up doing that. That's probably too much information. Beacon Star 2, I mean, I'm really depressed about that. I'm almost to the point where I'm not going to do it. There's so many lawsuits going on and stuff, and I'm just scared to death. But I did order my token for Beacon Star 2, and on May 25th, I'm going to drive to the spot I want to put it and try to find a good place to hide it. And that's going to be interesting. I'm going to be all over the country on my vacation and end up in Denver and check my token. I have lots of videos I was going to do. This is not my working copy. Oh! It's weird, it's not my working copy, but it's all white. But I marked in it. Yeah, we're doing those tipsy, judgy house reviews, and they're lots of fun to do, and we have lots of fun doing them. But my daughter's she was sick one Tuesday, and the next Tuesday she had to go in for training at her work. So we're like 2 weeks behind. I keep telling her, we gotta do videos, and she just, I mean, it's not she's making excuses, but it's just there are real things getting in the way, because we only have Tuesday to do them, and so if something comes up on Tuesday, we can't do them. But we love doing those, and it's just a lot of fun. And she drinks wine, and I drink rum, and we sit there and trash houses, multi-million-dollar houses, and we sit there and make fun of the decor. Beacon Star 2, yep, it's about the fall of Crescent. Lots of things happen. People die. Oh, let's see, who's in the chat? The women's toilet also? Yes. And the men's, I went to the executive wing. They have like a real toilet and real soap and a faucet you can actually turn on that doesn't require sensors. And yeah, it took me a whole week to hit every toilet in the building. Yep, I'm not putting anything in a national park. The Beacon Star has not been solved yet. Little engine that could. People are still working on things. Yeah, I know the toilet thing is strange, but you know, when you work nights and alone, you tend to start letting your imagination run wild. I know sometimes I kick my shoes off and I walk around barefoot, and it's just it's weird being on nights and being alone in the building. It's just, like I said, it's a 3-story office building. It's huge, and sometimes I got to like go find a computer in somebody's office and work on it, and we have these big open areas that are full of cubbies. There's probably like 30 cubbies in the open area, and so they're like, yeah, they're in the West Wing, and I'm like, yeah, there's 30 computers in the West Wing, so I got to walk through all these cubbies, and they're not arranged. They're arranged in a maze. They're not just straight aisles and stuff. So I got to walk around these cubbies and try to find it. Yeah, it's different, and it's always dark, and I'm always seeing shadow people out the corner of my eye. I'm like, what was that? What was that? What was that? And it's just it's a different thing. So sometimes I do stuff, if it's a slow week or something, I might think I'm going to do something different tonight. And yeah, there's places, there's 2 rooms I haven't been in the whole building. And I just haven't found the keys for them. But one is a storage room and one is a file room. And they've been locked for years. No one's been in them for years, literally. And I'm just like, why hasn't anyone been in these buildings or in these offices for years? So I've been like, I can't pick, because this is one of our locks right here, and I can't pick it. And I can pick any other lock, but I can't pick one of our locks. And so sometimes I bring my lock pick kit to work, and I'll sit there and I'll pick on a lock, and I just can't get our own locks picked. But yeah, I've always wondered what was behind these 2 doors. I know one door floods. The room inside of it gets water in it when it rains. So I'm just curious as to what the status of that room is. But it must be awful. What else is going on here? I like working alone. I know there's times, like once a quarter, I'm supposed to work a day shift. And I'm just like, the new guy is so quiet. And he's not just quiet, but when you talk to him, he talks so quietly. He's like, and you're like, what? And yeah, it's been so long since I've been working night shift for 3 years now, working alone, and I love it because I can come in. I'm like, okay, I gotta do 3 computers, and as long as there's no plant calls, I can finish these 3 computers by dawn, and get them done. And there's always something else, there's always like sign into this computer and get the audio working, or sign into this computer and do this or that. And I don't have to deal with people. I love that I don't have to deal with people at all, except on the plant floor. And I walk out there and they're like, hey, can you change this monitor out? And I'm like, first of all, is there a ticket for that monitor? Second of all, someone punched that monitor, so I don't think it's an emergency. And then I go back and get a monitor and walk it out there. But every once in a while, there's big emergencies. A whole line might go down, or the computer that controls everything might not be transferring data correctly, and the whole plant goes down. And that's my time to shine. No, there's no key above the door frame. I wish there was. I always picture opening this door, there's like stacks of money, and I don't know why I picture that, but that's what I picture. And the other one, I picture these files, but they're all waterlogged and swollen, and you can't open any of them. I have a good set of lockpicking tools because I watched The Lockpicking Lawyer. And if you've never seen The Lockpicking Lawyer, I suggest you look them up, because I've never seen anyone pick locks like he does. And I've actually bought his lockpicking kits. And I can sit here and I actually have a drawer in the other room with old doorknobs and locks, and every time I go to like the thrift store, I'll go. There's a little box with locks for like 10 cents, and I'll buy a whole bunch of locks. And I come home and I pick them, and I'm not an expert or anything, but I've gotten kind of good at it. But I just can't pick. This is one of our Asa Abloy locks, and I just can't pick that lock, and I've tried over and over again. It looks like a fairly standard lock. And we have lots of these little sample doors because we're a door factory. This is one they were going to throw out, and I said, no, let me get that, and I'll practice picking locks on it. But I haven't been able to pick it. And I've seen the lock picking lawyer who used one of our locks, and he picked it like in 30 seconds. And I'm like, how did he do that? Yeah, the one that looks like a pistol won't work on these because there's different spring strengths and stuff. So, Mario, hi Randy and y'all. Yep. Any questions? I don't see any questions coming through the chat. Time to do a shot though. Oh, it's nasty stuff. Oh. And then I pop a pistachio. This is one of my favorite mugs. It's a goblet. I think I got that at Mount Rushmore in the gift shop. I saw that and I was like, that's the goblet for me. It's green. It's solid. It's got the little sphere in the bottom. I'm losing everybody. I'm losing. People aren't chatting. I'm going to pour another one. Oh, it's going to be strong. My grandson has really been messing up my desk lately. Again. He was grounded for like 2 weeks, so I had 2 weeks reprieve. And of course that was the 2 weeks we couldn't get a video done. And he left this. I don't know if it's supposed to be a ring, but it's like a little spinner. What else did he leave up here? He left Skittles on my floor. What is the answer to life? Life, the universe, and everything. I don't know where my book is. Oh, there it is. Yes, the answer to life is that life has no meaning. We're here by random chance, and our planet is here by random chance, and life developed on it by random chance. When we die, we die. So you might as well make the most of life as you have it. You know, I thought about posting pictures. 3D Browns asked, do I need tweezers when I go boots on the ground? No. But, I mean, talking about the token, I feel that's okay. Because you're not going to find it unless you solve all the clues in the puzzle. And I know that, man, it's hard to find if you don't solve all the clues. It's in a spot that's it's just perfect. It's like the perfect spot. And yep, the 25th. Hey, let's talk about the 25th. Randy, if you were cowl lasers, would you be happy with the 10 plaques talked about on the last show? I don't know. I took down my video, by the way, because people kept complaining about it. So, there's certain plaques that he got wrong but right, and that's hard to explain. But the way he described where they were isn't right, but he got the right plaque, which is weird. And again, this hunt was designed for Denverites, and it wasn't actually, it was Calazars that kind of broke it, and people nationwide started looking at it. But yeah, it was kind of designed for Denverites. Like when I said a compass with no tails, people would know that that park has a compass, and there's no north, south, east, west on it. It's just the compass part. There's no letters or degrees or anything around it. But a Denverite would know that, and that compass is on top of a hill, so you don't see it unless you actually climb up to the top of the hill or use Google Maps. Denver. Man, it's hard to find stuff in Denver. Very hard to find stuff in Denver. Let me do it this way. Oop. Oh, right there we go. Nope, that's the other one. Where's that stupid park at? Jurassic World. Is this it finally? Did I figure it out? Yeah. Dun dun dun. So that's it. That's the compass with no tails. And see, if you zoom out, what do you see? So yeah, the poems all had confirmers, and I like that they realized that there were confirmers in the poems. So there's no doubt you have the right location. Boy, this program's not easy to use. Let's have fun with resizing windows. Let me go back to chat. What's in chat? Which video did I take down? The one where I go over all the clues. Because people were complaining, oh, you're just giving it away for people who are just starting. Randy, if someone not from Denver or not living in Denver finds it, will you be disappointed? Not really. I would be impressed, actually, because it would be harder for someone outside of Denver to find it. Although a lot of the footwork's already been done. Oh, I sent Mike an interesting story about that compass. I used to go to that compass, and it was just always full of trash, and I'd pick up the trash because that's the kind of person I am. And there were bottles, booze bottles, and I don't know, people party there. But it's on top of it. Doesn't look like that on the satellite view, but it's on top of a hill, So you don't really see it unless you climb up the hill or you live in one of the high rises nearby. What side of the token did I paint? Neither side. I painted the rim. And I can admit that because, you know, I don't think you're going to find it unless you solve all the clues. Keep those shots flowing. Oh, wow. That's nasty rum, but it's good. I'm addicted to it. Oh, what else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Keep those shots flowing. Did I just read that? I should probably change my 7 square to something else. Oh, looks like I'm caught up. Chrissy Meeps retracted a message. I missed it. No, I'm trying not to give out any clues, but yeah, the token, like I said, you're not going to find it. I don't think you'll find it by accident. So I don't mind saying, yeah, I painted the rim so that it matched the color of the surrounding area. Yeah, Mary, Denver has a huge homeless issue, and I don't know what the correct solution for that is. I think if they just put up more porta potties, people won't hate them as much. But yeah, I remember times. I remember my son came because he got married in California, and he kind of eloped. So driving back from California to Iowa, he stopped in Colorado to see me. And we were going to one of the what do you call it? The big meat places. Oh, what's it called? It's a South American thing. I can't remember. It's a place where they bring the meat around to each table. And just walking from the car park to the restaurant, I mean, it was just like person after person coming up to us and asking for money. You know, it's like it was just one of those things. And speaking of the meat place, my son and I had a contest, and we were trying to see how many different meats we would try over the course of the night. And it's like, you know, because they serve the basic steak, pork, chicken, but then they also serve like rattlesnake, bison, alligator, you know. So we were eating, and I think I know he beat me by one because he ate a quail egg, and I wouldn't eat a quail egg. And but we ate like 27 different kind of meats. Oh God, what's that place? It's like the Brazilian meat place. But yeah, we just sat there, and I know they come by with the meat, and it's just like they carve off a big chunk of it. But then they would come around and go, "Do you want to try rattlesnake?" And we're like, "Yeah, let's try rattlesnake." And you know, there was deer, bison. I can't remember all, but I know we counted, and I think I hit 28 and he hit 29 because he had the quail egg. So I let him have it. It was his wedding night. Brazilian steakhouse. Yeah, that's why I couldn't remember that. And I don't even think that place exists anymore. I think there's other Brazilian steakhouses, but the one we went to doesn't exist anymore. Fogo de Chao, that sounds like it, but I don't think, like I said, I don't think it's there anymore. And the funny thing was, we got all done, and I forgot my wallet. And I'm like, You two sit here. I'm going to run all the way out to the car park because the car park was like 4 blocks away. And I'll get my wallet. And in the meantime, they brought the bill. And my son freaked out because that was like the most expensive meal he had ever had in his life. It was like $400. And but I was happy for him. It was, like I said, they eloped. They got married in California. They drove through the mountains and they stopped in to see me in the way back. Snake was mushy. I didn't like snake at all. And a lot of the meats, like you're like, oh, they just would take a bite of it and then I'm like, oh, this is mushy. Your brain is like, this isn't food. This is mush. It's hard to explain. But the funny thing about that meal is we ate nothing but meat. There was no potatoes or veggies or anything. It was nothing but meat, and we had a great time that night. Medieval times, snake does not taste like chicken. Lorraine, yeah, Fogo de Chou. Randy, is it try you said think of something the same shape regarding the triangle puzzle? I think Calazars is drinking too tonight. I did say that in one of my videos. I said think of something that looks like a triangle. I think it was the Fogo de Chao place, because that sounds really familiar, but that might be the place that's still there and we went to a different place. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's only the second most expensive meal I ever ate. Before I left Denver, there's this restaurant downtown. It's in the basement of a bank and it's in their vault, and they only serve like 20 people at a time. And just before I left Denver, I knew I'd have to break up with my girlfriend, so we went down there. And because she lived like half a block away, and she's like, I've always wanted to try this place in the bank vault. And of course, we're just kind of living it up because we know it's our last meal together. And she's ordering full bottles of wine and everything, and that meal costs about $500. That was like my U-Haul money, but I was happy for it. And then, like I said, my son's meal, that was the second most expensive meal at $300, and it was like slightly over $300. But after that, I know I just spent $100 feeding a family of 6. So, was the last hint clues solved? I believe it was. First, boots on the ground. You got to go to all the locations. Then page, I think it was 49, and apply that to the bricks. Was it 49? Yeah, 49. I mean, to me, it's like, God, why can't they see that? But I think they're working on it, and I think they've worked it out. Jeep Girl Jody, who sent me to Crystals, and then I went to that place out in the grasslands, and I parked my car, and the first thing that happened was this truck drove up and was like, "You can't park here!" I mean, this guy was angry. "You can't park here!" And I'm like, well, according to the map, it's like open camping. And he's like, only 20 feet from the road. And he was like so angry. And so I was like, okay, I'll move my car over a little bit. And I moved my car over a little bit. And then this guy like drove back and forth like every hour. And I'm just like, I was so uncomfortable. That finally, and it was overcast the whole time. And I was hoping to like see the stars at night, but it was just totally, horizon to horizon overcast. And I was kind of nervous to walk out in the grasslands. I thought this guy would drive out and, shoot me or something. He was just very, very angry. So I didn't get a chance to look for crystals, but I do know the location now, and I might go back to that someday. Oh, my eyes are burning. Rodzio. Now that sounds familiar too. Rodzio Grill. Yeah, it's Beyond Mill, but I supposedly, and when you look at the map, it does show like a certain amount of space on each side of the road. And I drove up into a trail, and so I think he had a point there. But the way he kept driving, and when he drove past, he would like look at me like, and so many other cars were going back and forth. I just felt really uncomfortable. It was a nice spot, and I wish I could have hiked down, but I just never had a chance to. At that point, I was just like, I think my time would be better spent, going up into Nebraska and stuff. Did I answer that question? Sorry, just remember. Hi, Ugg. Who's Ugg? Yeah, I go alone everywhere. I go up to Valentine Creek and Lost Creek area alone. I've had some things happen up there that I'm like, I wish I wasn't alone. I know this one time I climbed this steep hill, and I got to the top, and I was kind of walking along the top of the hill, and I slipped. I literally did somersaults down this hill with my full backpack on, and I get to the bottom. I hit the bottom. There was a big log, and I hit this log at the bottom. I was just laying there going, I hope nobody saw that. It took me a minute to do my bone check. Okay, no broken bones. And another time I was hiking where Goose Creek is, there's drop-offs, and I had spent half a day trying to figure out how to cross this creek. And I finally got across, and I was climbing up the hill on the other side. This bear I must have scared it because it just jumped out of nowhere. And this bear ran down, and I saw it fall off the cliff. And I'm like, okay, if it fell off the cliff in the creek, there's no way it's getting back out right away. It's got to walk a good distance either direction. And so I just continued on my way. And it's weird knowing that you're in the same area as a bear and you're alone, and I didn't have a gun on me or anything. I just had my knife, and yeah. It's a different situation, but I always go alone everywhere because who's going to go with me? Even when I had friends in Denver, they're like, we don't want to go up in the mountains. Oh. Yeah, and I even bought a hammer. I bought, a prospector's hammer, and I bought other things, and I was ready to go and look for crystals, and I just never got a chance to. And I've gone up to, oh man, my eyes burning. What's it called? They find lots of, not rhodochrosite, the blue one, whatever the blue crystal is, and I've gone up there and I've tried to look for crystals, but I guess you have to really dig for them. I think everybody left. Did everybody leave? Isn't there a place here where you can go? Right here, this is the participants. Yeah, it looks like Kyle Lazar is left. It's just Beefy Getty, Jeep Girl, JK Pioneer, and the Rain. Might have been the Aquamarines. I don't think there are sapphires in Colorado. It's funny because I always look for rhodochrosite because I went to one of the gem and mineral shows. The little blocks of rhodochrosite were going for like $40,000, $50,000. And I'm like, God, I need to find a rhodochrosite. And I have some rhodochrosite in my collection, but it's like really bad quality rhodochrosite because that's all I could afford. I don't know. Can I show you my collection? I'm sure I showed it before. Yeah, see, that's my gem collection. Kyle was ours left. I was going to tease him about some things. Are you here, Kyle? It's nasty. Yeah, I love going to rivers. When I camp, when I go hiking and stuff, I actually have a set of goggles, a swim trunks, and an old pair of shoes. So when I come to a river, if it's not ice cold, because you know how mountain rivers are, they're always ice cold, but I'll put on the goggles and my swim trunks and just kind of, and I have a snorkel, and I'll sit there and I'll just kind of float in the water, just like look at the bottom. And I love that. I love finding all the polished stones that are at the bottom of a river, and I think that's just fantastic. Why is it all crap, Beefaghetti? And that's where Valentine Goose comes from, because I go to Goose Creek. My very first video was I was going to Goose Creek, and then I was going to Valentine, Nebraska. For some reason, there's a lot of pischels in Valentine, Alaska. And there's actually a Pischelville Cemetery. There's Pischelville, there's Pischel Creek, and I'm a pischel. And I was looking at the history of these pischels, and they all came from Cleveland, and my pischels all came from Cleveland. So I'm like, this has got to be the same family. And then when I went there, and there was a picture on a cemetery, I went to the Pischelville Cemetery, and there was a picture on a tombstone of the guy that was buried there, and he was my identical twin. I'm like, if there was any doubt we were related, it was gone at that point. And he left a bottle of Jack Daniels on his tombstone, or somebody did, and it was like 3/4 full. And I'm like, you know what, cousin, I'm with you. And I sat there and I drank the Jack Daniels. I drank a couple fingers full, and then I went and slept in my car and slept it off. But yeah, I was just like, there was no doubt in my mind we're related. Goose Creek is great. There's a campsite I like, and I always go there. Only once has it ever been occupied when I got there. But there's the Goose Creek campground, and then if you take the road, it snakes up, and right at the top, there's a little campsite that like looks down on the campground and looks up at the mountain and stuff. That's where I love to be. And man, if I could build a cabin there, that's where I'd be right now. Going on a fishing trip in Wyoming. You know, I went to Wyoming when the Fenbury was going on. I went to Outlaw Campground, I think, and it was over the caverns that Billy the Kid hung out in, and right by the ranch that he hid out at. Went fishing time. Yeah, Lost Creek. I went. Let me tell you a story about Lost Creek. I had my metal detector, and I always strap my metal detector to my backpack. And I'm in Lost Creek. Now, if you've been to Lost Creek, you know that it's been ravaged by a forest fire, and so there's a lot of clearings. And so I go off trail, and I'm walking along this cliff face. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to pull out my metal detector, and it's not picking up anything. And I'm walking and walking and walking, and it beeps. I'm like, oh, there's something here, and I dig and dig and dig, and it was a dime. And it wasn't just any dime. It was a dime from 1909. I think it was 1909. But I'm like, someone in 1909 was walking through here and dropped a dime, and I found it. What are the odds? You know, and I have a special thing over here that I keep that dime in because that dime is just so special to me. Yeah, Valentine Creek. I was thinking about going there when I go to Denver, but that would take away from my Denver time. I didn't know if there'd still be snow up there. Um, but yeah, I love to go up there and just sit and watch the sunset and watch the moon rise, and it's just beautiful up there. And when the sun goes down, if you look towards Pike Peak, there's a light on Pikes Peak, and it reminds me of the Hobbit. Not, I'm sorry, not the Hobbit. The Lord of the Rings, when they light the fires, the beacons to go through. And I'm like, that is a beacon. That looks like a beacon. And if I saw that, I would light my beacon. It's a cool place to see it. You can see that light on Pikes Peak, and then you can see the lights of Denver and stuff. The only problem is it's so close to Denver is you get yahoos up there. And I swear some nights it just sounds like a war zone. It's just bang, 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 bang. People go up there to shoot their guns, and it's just constant gunfire. Oh. Yeah, I can imagine. I know one time I was hiking, and I was in the Goose Creek area, and I'm off trail, and I'm like going through this, the burnt down trees because that's where the forest fire was, and something hit the back of my leg, and I mean it felt like lightning hit the back of my leg, and I went down hard, and I looked and there was 2 puncture wounds, blood coming out of them. Like, oh, I got bit by a snake or something. Had to have been a snake. And I'm like, okay, what kind of snakes are here? And it laid me out flat. And my foot was going numb, and I thought, this is it. I'm going to die. I'm going to die alone in the wilderness. And I thought, well, if I can make it to my car, maybe I can drive into Denver. And I dressed the wound a little bit, and I started kind of limping my way back to the car. I was about half a mile from the car, and there was a big cliff in between me and the car, so I had to go up and down. And I made it to the car, and when I got to the car, I'm like, I could feel my foot again. My leg was swollen, but I didn't feel sick or anything. And so I drove back home, and by the time I got to Denver, I was like, I don't feel any pain or anything, so I just went home. The swelling went down after about a day or two, and I never saw what bit me or anything, but man, it was just like lightning. When that hit me, it was just like a stun gun, and I just went down hard, boom. And so things like that when you're hiking alone is like, yeah, I could have very well died out there. And off trail like that, miles from anywhere. I don't know if anyone would have ever found me. Oh, Centennial Cider encampments. I'm not sure what you mean by that, unless you're talking to somebody else. Christy, what have you been up to? Yeah, the shooting out when you're close to Denver and you go up in the mountains, you're gonna get shooting all the time. Um, I never owned a gun. People thought I was crazy hiking alone without a gun. Um, but I imagine if I had a gun, I would probably set up some cans and shoot them myself. I know someone, speaking of whiskey in hidden places, someone hid a bottle of wine in Death Valley. My good friend. Uh, so one of these days I'm going to go up and find it. Ooh, what's it? Oh my God. Yeah, Mary. When I had a girlfriend, she never wanted to go up there with me, and I would tell her, "Yeah, I'm going to Goose Creek. I'm going off trail. I'm going in this direction. There's a, this," and I would describe the area to her. So at least someone knew at least when I had a girlfriend. But otherwise, no, I just go up alone. It's been such a long time since I saw you, Christy. What's you been up to? Wyoming. Wyoming is kind of a wild state. I couldn't believe it though. When I got to Outlaw Caverns, there were so many people there, and I was so bummed out. I was hoping I'd be camping alone, but there was probably 6 other campsites set up right there. I don't. Apparently, they buried the bottle of wine in the sand, so I don't know how that would keep in Death Valley. I imagine the sand would get really hot. I don't know what that would do to wine. And she's 4 years sober from Alcoholics Anonymous, and I don't really want to bring it up. I'm like, I'll go retrieve the wine, but I won't tell you I did it. Yeah, I can't imagine it being good either. I can't believe how much rum I've drank. I barely got a buzz. Although I think I'm slurring my words a little bit. Yeah, especially Death Valley. How hot does it get in Death Valley? I don't know what this thing is. It must just be a spinner. It must just be a fidget spinner. Well, everyone, anyone else got anything they want to ask me or anything? It's nearly midnight. At least in my time zone, it's nearly midnight. When I drink a lot, that's when I do my best coding. That's when I'm like, okay, I've got to count to 1,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And you can just do it. It's almost like it focuses my mind. What's 131? 94. Whew. Is Ben on right now? Boop-a-doop-a-doo. Oh, look. A giraffe. Surprise, surprise. What's their channel called? Treasure Warriors. Oh. Not Treasure Wars. Nope, they're off. Oh yeah, Death Valley Temp. Yeah, I can't imagine even buried in sand that would be good for a bottle of wine. I'd almost want to taste it just to see what happened to it. I wonder what temperature wine boils at. I wonder if the cork might have popped out by now. Wyoming is nice and rugged, and but I like going up. Denver has a zone that's like, they call it the gem zone or something like that, and I always go up. You look for the recent rock falls, and that's where you go up and you climb and you look in the cracks and stuff for rhodochrosite and anything else is up there. I found like perfect, quartz crystals and stuff. And one of the most perfect ones I found was like still embedded in the rock. So I would have had to break it off, and that's against my rules. If it's not laying on the ground, I don't take it. Maybe a rhodochrosite, I might pick it out. A quartz, I leave quartz as it slays. But there were times, the place where I go hiking, there is so much quartz that you can't take a step without stepping on quartz. And I've only gotten like one or two. Just they jump out at you. They're like, oh, look at this one here. This one's jumping out at me. It's calling to me. It wants me. I might drop it in my pocket. I don't even know where they are these days. Well, I'm thinking about wrapping it up. Like I said, any last questions? The trick to solving the Beacon Star is a drink before solving. Probably, because I probably drank when I wrote it. I've never found gold. I found lots of fool's gold. I'm sure if I stuck with it more, I'd probably find some. Lots of fool's gold. It does look just like gold. When you got fool's gold and it's just little pieces, and the little pieces are like in sand, it looks just like gold. I can imagine why people were fooled by it. Fire bans. I've never had a campfire. I've never lit a campfire. Partly because a lot of times when I go up late in the season, it's fire bans. But I just never wanted the hassle. Plus, I always wanted to look at the stars and be stargazing. I didn't want the light to be there. I'd go up to, what's that area I'd go up to? You would know it if I said it. Gunnison. There's a place up in Gunnison I'd like to go. I did a light pollution map, and Gunnison was one of the darkest places in Colorado. And I'd go to Gunnison, and I went there during a meteor shower once, and it was like the best night of my life. And I wish I could have shared it with somebody. Everything you need is in the book. Nope, I mean, if you are familiar with different codes, that might help. Because almost every code in here is a common code. Yeah, Gunnison, there's a place I go and there's a fire trail, and I drive up it. And then there's a place where you turn off, and it's an old fire trail that has a log falling across it that you can see is overgrown. There's trees growing up in it, but you can tell it used to be a fire trail. And it's just, back then I had a Subaru, and it was just I loved that Subaru. It was unstoppable. But yeah, I'd go up there, and well, the first time I went to Gunnison, I had a Chrysler minivan, one of the very first models, the boxy Chrysler. It was like the very first minivan, and I went up there, and it was a moonless night, and there was this meteor shower. And I was scared to death. I mean, it was so dark you couldn't see your hand in front of your face. So what I would do is I climbed up on the roof of the minivan. I was kind of laying there, and for maybe 20 minutes I'd watch meteors and satellites and everything else. And then I'd hear a twig break, and I'd be like, ah! So I had a spotlight, and I'd grab it, and I'd shine it through the woods, and I'd shine it all around me. And I'd turn it off, and I had like another 20 minutes to watch the stars. And then I'd hear, what made it worse was I was next to a brook, and the brook would, every once in a while, would go blue, 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 like make bubbles. And I'm like, what was that? And I'd shine the spotlight again. It was a terrifying night. I'm terrified alone at dark. In the middle, I'm not afraid to admit that. And then, like, just before dawn, you'll hear birds start to tweet. And as soon as I hear those birds tweet, I'm like, I made it to dawn, and I would fall asleep. But yeah, that was a spectacular. I saw so many meteors. It was almost constant meteors. It was just amazing. I can't discuss the triangles because no one's solved anything there yet. Oh, I gotta go. I'll be right back. Hello. I am a haunted house actor, no problem. The only haunted house I've ever been to with real actors was in the Wisconsin Dells, and it was the funnest moment of my life. My son, apparently the tour don't start until someone looks behind these curtains. And we stood there for at least 15 minutes. And my son finally was like, I'm going to see what's behind these curtains. And keep in mind, there's like 15 of us. And he parts the curtains, and this woman jumps out and goes, hello! And I don't even know how, but my son ended up at the back of the crowd. And it was just the funniest thing. I'm like, how did you get from the front of the crowd to the back of the crowd without anyone seeing you? We just like teleported to the back of the crowd. So who's going to be in Denver on the... Let me look at the calendar here. So the 25th I'm going to be driving through. The 26th and 27th are when I'm going to be in Denver, and I'm hoping to get a hotel room that night. Yeah, 26th and 27th. I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet, but I may do something before then. No, this rum is 94 proof. It's cracking. Oh, and look how much I drank. This bottle was new, and it's down to here. What do your kids think? It's funny. It's funny to think about what my kids think, because I'm like, I remember sitting, I think it was a Thanksgiving or something, and I'm like talking about the hunt or something, and they're like, you wrote a book? I'm like, I've written 4 books. They're all on Amazon. And they're like, you wrote books? And I'm just like, oh man. Oh, my kids. They don't even care. I do have everything in a briefcase. If anything ever happens to me, the briefcase tells all. What codes are my favorite? The codes I make up. I like to combine codes. Do a Beal cipher, but then do a poly be a square inside the Beal cipher or something. I think I told you guys about my poster. I started this poster, and I wanted to see how many codes I could fit in this coaster, and I was up to God, I don't know how many. But you wouldn't know that by looking at it. Looking at it, you might think, oh, there's 10 codes here, but there was actually like 30 codes. So I like combining codes. What was his name? It's gonna drive me crazy now. The Bacon cipher, where he used 2 different fonts in his memoirs. And I don't know if you saw the video I posted on the Calazars webpage, the Facebook page, but that guy that is like taking apart Shakespeare and trying to prove that this other guy wrote Shakespeare, he's finding codes and everything. I'm like, wow, that's so fascinating. Oh, message is retracted. I wish my kids could take more interest in what I do. But yeah, like I said, I mentioned it at Thanksgiving. They're like, you wrote a book? Oh, look at how much I got left. The Wisconsin Dells are fantastic, and House on the Rock, I want to go back there so bad because I know I missed half of it. I did the full tour of House on the Rock, but oh my God, that is just the wildest place on the planet. There's just no describing it. Especially when you get to the end with the mannequin babies. Oh my God. This is just fantastical. When does the Beacon Star hit? Yeah, I should do a Beacon Star hint book and then sell it for like $5,000. Okay, it's Kyle Lazar's is back in the house. Randy, what do you? Oh, he was the one that asked about the kids. See how much I'm drinking? I've I read the question, but it didn't register that it was Kyle Lazar's. Kyle, thank you for the Cracked. Like I said, I grew up with Cracked. I hated Mad magazine. I did hate Mad. I loved Crack. I've been reading Crack since, and this was like reliving my childhood, man. But I mean, for decades I bought Crack magazine. Yeah, and my kids never do anything with my books. Friend, 20. What did I say the dates was? Oh, I think I'm getting a buzz. The 26th and 27th, because the 28th I was supposed to be in Sioux City, Iowa. So I'm hoping to like leave on the 27th and drive through the night to the 28th. Oh, I think it's time to refill my glass. I was going to get off, but I feel pretty good right now. I feel pretty damn good. I don't know if I ever bought Crazy magazine. Cracked was my specialty, and I loved Cracked because of Severin. His art was just... Whenever, I mean, even to this day, if I try to draw something, I think, how would Severin draw it? And, I mean, his art is just, I mean, that's his cover art right there. Boom. I just love the way he draws. And he always has his signature. Every article he's ever done, he's done this pose. Let me see if I can get it. The guy with his arms and his leg up. I swear he's used that in every one of his drawings. Creepy magazine? I don't remember Creepy. Yeah, I don't know about Denver. I'm thinking, because sometimes I just don't know where I'm going to be at what time, but maybe on the 26th I'll know where I'm going to be, and I can announce that, and maybe we can meet at the museum or something. Oh, that's nasty stuff. I say it's nasty stuff, but I love it. So yeah, if anyone wants to be in Denver, the 26th to 27th, like I said, I'm probably going to get a hotel room that night. The 27th is probably the best time to meet me in the morning. I just don't know. I'm shy, and I know I don't seem shy right now because I'm just talking to a camera. But yeah, that's why I work alone. That's why I hike alone. I'm really shy, so I could see myself seeing a group of people and then like filming it and being like, hey, I'm live and I see those people over there and we were supposed to meet, but I'm not going to. I don't know. I don't even know what I would do if I met people in real life. How did I spill? Did anybody see me spill? And I just happened to be sitting at my desk. Oh, I just love the weight of this gold coin. It's just so heavy. Every once in a while, I'm sitting here and I pull it out. I'm like, oh, this is so heavy. I want to crack it out of this case so bad, because the original one I had when I first started the Beacon Star didn't have a case, and I could feel the gold, and I could put it in my pocket. But I had this girlfriend, and she was like, wanted to rule my life, and she's like, let me hold on to that for you so you don't end up spending it or losing it. And I also let her take control of my finances, and she did actually, was very good at it. And I got ahead on my bills and stuff, so it wasn't all bad. And yeah, we broke up, and I'm like, then I moved back to Iowa. I'm like, where is my gold coin? I mean, it's no small matter. These coins are like $2,000. In fact, I think this one's $2,500. And I'm like, where's my gold coin? And then she stopped speaking to me, and I'm like, oh man, I don't know. She probably pawned it or something. But I got the other one. I got the certificate of deposit, and that's earning interest, and so everything's good in the world. Was the Fen Finale, or was it the Fen Burree that was in West Yellowstone? And it was like a 3-day event. Because I meant to go to that, and I went to the Outlaw Caves in Wyoming. And there was so many people there, and I was getting kind of bummed out because I don't like hiking around other people. Because I fall down a lot. I trip, and I don't want people to see that. And and then I'm just like, I want to go home, and it was like 3 days until the Fen Burree, and I'm like, I can't do it. I went home. You know, the coin it's 69. I can see why. I don't know if we can see it on camera, but there is a small blemish. Otherwise, it's perfect. There's just a small discoloration right here. I don't know if there's a way to see that. It's so small that I can't even get it. Otherwise, it's perfect. It would have been a 70 if it weren't for that blemish. Oh, what year? 2014. I purposely got 2014 because the original code, or 2015, because the original gold coin was 2015, and I'm like, I want to get the same coin I said I would get. But like the back is absolutely perfect. The front is perfect except for that one tiny blemish. And I can't even get it on camera enough to show you the blemish, but you can see that's a mirror surface. It's a beautiful coin. I want to crack it out so bad. Yeah, the Fen Finale. I really meant to go to that, and I just kind of... I mean, my plan was to camp for 3 days, and there was so many people around blasting music and stuff, and I'm just like, oh, I can't do this. And I took off for home. The blemish is so tiny. I mean, for a while I was like, why did they not do this 70? It's perfect. And then I could see that one little blemish on there. I'm sure that's what made it 69. And I looked it up on the PCGS website on how they grade stuff, and they're like, yeah, if there's any sort of blemish, it's a 69. So, yeah, that was the middle of COVID. I think we're still in the middle of COVID. I feel good now. I can go another 6 hours. Grace High, City Browns. Amber Turd. Good night, Beefaghetti, if you haven't already left. I know it's only midnight here, but on the East Coast, I'm sure it's later than on the West Coast. It's earlier. Yeah, I know it's worth more than the slab. That's why I'm not breaking it out. But there was just something about, because I have my 2 silver coins, and there's just something about having that gold in your pocket. You could feel it. You could just feel that gold. Oh, I used to carry, I mean, people thought I was nuts. I'd carry around that $2,000 gold coin in my pocket, just going to work and stuff. And now I just carry the 2 silver coins, and they're both worth about $40, so it's $80 I'm carrying in my pocket every day. Is Kalasar still here? I should tease him some more. Oh, a glass. I don't have any paper towels. Oh, I do have a towel. I don't know, I'm feeling really good. I could be up all night. This is my towel, by the way. Oh, my beer towel. I was thinking about doing a video about the triangles. Because that seems to be the one a lot of people are concerned with. And the result of the triangles is more of a confirmer for other, I don't know. The prize pool, let me see what the prize pool is up to. Do, 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 do. Well, this computer is not letting me into KDP, but I think the KDP was nearing 400, so that's $400. The GoFundMe, if I could type. I'm too drunk to type. So about 400. The GoFundMe is, come on, come up. It wants to do verification, so 6414. That's all I need to do is send my phone number out to everybody. GoFundMe verification code 5935593. Whoops. 5. So about 400. The GoFundMe is at. Doesn't it give me totals in there? $345, so that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 45. The gold coin, you can look that up on PGCS. So what I say, 4, 5, 6, 745. And the code on the piece is 535,976.69. Oh, this can't be right. 834. How did I get to 834? So according to PCGS, the gold coin is worth, and I'll show you, just so there's no mistaken, that's not it. I'm trying to go there, verify. 535976.69. Why ain't this coming up? Let's try this number, 3153174. Yeah, this is it. A $50 gold eagle. So 2,300 and 700 is $3,000 about. Plus the 5,000, so it's up to $8,000. Supper time. God, how late do you eat supper? Oh, my goblet. Why are you so drippy? So that's a bit more than what I thought. So $800 or $8,000 is getting up there. And people keep saying, "Oh, this is too hard for $8,000." I'm like, I would kill for $8,000 right now. Yes, I would kill you. I would slit your throat for $8,000. But this is so heavy. I love gold. Put it back in its secret spot. There's a new quarter series. There's women. I love women, by the way. I didn't even know 3D Browns was in here. Good night, everyone. Time for dinner. God, how late do you guys eat dinner? I eat dinner like at 6. Does that mean I'm old or I'm uncool? And we had lasagna. My daughter made lasagna. The triangle code. Let me look at the triangle code. Triangle code. There it is. It's an interesting thing, this triangle code. I love teasing people about the triangle code. Yeah, Russian coins. You know, I always wanted to find like a German cache of treasures, or I would settle for a drug lord's stash of cash. You know, I don't know if you've seen. Oh God, what's that one show called? Where the guy he ends up with $80 million and it's on a pallet. Just $80 million. I'm like, boy, if I could just rob a drug lord. Sierpinski. There should be 5 and 4. I'd say 9. I dub the Sierpinski. You know, if I ever get a 3D printer, one of the things I'm going to print is this a 3D Sierpinski triangle. And I'm almost on the verge of getting a 3D printer, but I'm like, I want to do my Denver visit first. I shouldn't say any more about the triangle puzzle, because like anything I say about the triangle puzzle would give it away. The big block of codes is what you should be concentrating on. So many more puzzles to be found. And one of the other things I want to do when I'm in Denver is visit some of the GPS coordinates. I don't know what the weather will be or anything like that. I thought about just going to one of those spots and just having a picnic. I just absolutely love the old Chicago, anything from old Chicago really, but the calzones are just to die for. And I could just get a few calzones and go sit in the middle somewhere and just, oh man, that's so good. Or the donut shop that I can't remember the name of, out on Colfax. There's this donut shop that makes these apple fritters, and I'm just like, I'm dying for one of these apple fritters. Also, I wouldn't mind some edible. I can't smoke because I have bad lungs. But edibles, oh, I got edibles brownies. It made me laugh for like an hour, and then I fell asleep for like 8 hours, and I can live with that. But yeah, they're good for de-stressing. I can't do a bong or anything like Ben can do, but once a month maybe take a few edibles and just chill out and watch the stars rise. I have a telescope that I bought at a garage sale, and I haven't used it yet, but it's a pretty good one. Calazars is trying to take advantage of my defenses being down. The dots puzzle. Which one is the dots puzzle? Which one are you considering the dots puzzle? I never really named puzzles. Are you talking about this one? In the text are mainly hints on how to do the other puzzles. mainly like things that tell you how to use the puzzles that are presented. But there's no real puzzles in the text. I probably should quote that at all the locations now that I've said it. Well, like if you're stuck on the triangle puzzle, read the text again. Oh. Oh, this row is getting to me. The text is fun to read because, like, especially in the next book, if I ever get around to it, I think the next book is going to be so much fun in the way it's presented. Because I wanted to do a book that's different from normal books. I don't know if you ever read the book. I would highly recommend it. It's called, what's it called? I don't know, it's House something, but it's about this guy that he measures the inside of his house and he measures the outside of his house and he realizes that the inside of his house is bigger than the outside. And it's about his, and it's the most unusual book. There's like a whole section where there's one word on every page. And there's a whole section where the words spiral in. And there's a whole section where there's 3 stories going on with 3 different fonts in 3 different sections of the page. It's just a really unusual book, and I've always wanted to write a book like that. I think that's how I'm going to do the 3rd book. Xavier, I haven't been working on it so much because I got Leverett, and Leverett just screams to me. Like, I know what these codes are, but I just haven't had a chance to sit down and do the number crunching like Hooley did. Hooley did the number crunching, and apparently she, with a couple other people, might have been Beefagetti, solved the ant puzzle. House of Leaves, that might have, yeah, I think that was it. Chrissy, did you read The House of Leaves? Apparently it was like a guy who's married to a famous model, and he, and there's another story going on where a guy is researching the story, and then there's another story going on where a guy is talking about the story. It's just really, it's a bizarre book. And that's the kind of book I wanted to write. Barney Miller? I'm thinking of Barney... Is Barney Miller the old 70s TV show? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was called House of Leaves. That was just a fantastic book. Oh my god, my pictures are crooked. I love Barney Miller because I play bass, and I love doing that. Boom, ba-da-boom, ba-da-boom, ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba. Now I know I've been drinking too much. I love Fish, and I love the episode where he was in the hospital and they said we lost him. And they're all going, oh no, we lost Fish. And he goes, we can't find him. And they're like, oh wait, clarify what you mean by lost him. Yeah, House of Leaves. I don't own it. Well, I did own it, but I sent it to a friend of mine. But yeah, it's just really bizarre. And this guy becomes obsessed, and he keeps measuring the inside of his house and measuring the outside of his house. And he hires this company that uses lasers, and they measure the inside of his house and the outside of his house. And then they find these secret passages. And I did work out the math. There's a point in the story where he does math. and I realized that his math was wrong. So, yes, I worked out the math of his story. Willie went boots on the ground for beef spaghetti. Laura, were you one of the ones that I know there was 3 people in the group? I think that's just so cool. And I remember when my son and I found the token for the snail, and it's just like the best feeling ever. And we tried to find other people because we know there was other people in the park that was looking for the snail, and we couldn't find any of them because it was so late in the day that we found it. Remember the guy turning into a werewolf? I don't know what you're talking about. Barney Fife is the deputy sheriff. Cow, did you leave that guy in the barrel in Lake Mead? Lake Mead is behind Hoover Dam. I went to Hoover the last time I was at Hoover Dam. They were building the bridge, and it was just a bunch of cables going across, and like they were lowering things down for the bridge. It was really cool to watch. So what was the method of solving the ant? Was it 6? Did 6 have something to do with it? Because I find 6 all throughout the book. I liked Vegas. I had so many adventures in Vegas that I can't even say on YouTube without getting banned. Yeah, the bridge was about a quarter built, I think, when I was there. It was just fascinating to see how the cables link going across, and from the distance it looks so huge, and I'd like to go back and see what it looks like now. I liked Hoover Dam. I like the design and the bricks that show like stars and stuff. It was really cool. It's amazing they could build a bridge across that. I wish I could get to Vegas. I know it's really cheap to get there. My genius friend lived in Vegas for almost a decade, and she knows all the ins and outs of Vegas. But she's sober now, so it's like a completely different game if you're sober than if you're a drug addict. I'm really proud of her for beating all of her addictions. But yeah, I'd love to go to Vegas. Where did I stay? I can't remember. It was at the very end of the strip, and they had a SpongeBob exhibit, and they had people walking around in SpongeBob costume and the starfish costume and the Squidward costume, and also they had naked women pole dancing. And the juxtaposition of these kids things with the naked women, like, I was like, whoa. It was a trip. In fact, I got a picture from that trip. Let's see if I can find it. No, not YouTube, Facebook. Let's see. I eat budgets. I loved my trip to Vegas. All I can tell you is Penn and Teller are not the good people you think they are. Well, Teller. Penn was alright. Where would that picture be? Were you looking at my screen the whole time? Oh my gosh. This is my girlfriend in high school. Oh, and this is me at the bridge. Look at this. You can see they were just putting the cables across for the bridge. Can you see? Oh, my face is in the way. My big fat hairy face. Right there, you see the bridge going in. That was a memory right there. That was before I wore glasses. And there's me with the amazing Randy. Oh, let's see. That was a good one too. This word is written in a field in Kansas. And I keep going back there trying to find out why it is there. But I never could figure out why. Let's see. Where is... Must be under caps and portraits. I'm sure I'm going to find it here. Oh, if it's not there, huh? I remember this picture. I was like, can you hold this glass up so I can get the sun shining through it? And she's like, I don't want you to get my face. This is me planking at Mount Rushmore. Oh, I might give away a clue in here somewhere. Look at that. And that. There should be more. It says 112 items. Oh, come on, I gotta find this picture. That might look familiar to some of you who's working on Solomon Voynich. That might look like something for some of you working on GPS coordinates. There's me planking at Mount Rushmore. Planking was all the rage back then, so don't make fun of me. Mount Rushmore. Where the heck is that picture? Oh, this is gonna drive me crazy. my Vision Quest, I actually spent 30 days touring every state west of the Mississippi. And that was my Vision Quest. Oh, that was Grand Canyon. Did I go to Vegas before or after the Grand Canyon? Well, I can't find it. Where is it? It's such a fun picture. I wanted to show it to you. You think it'd be under Captain's Portraits. There it is. There's my Vegas picture. I found you. Back to the chat. Yeah, Circus Circus was one of them. Open up. All right, the first time I went to Vegas was at Circus Circus, and there was the hot dog that was like that big and that big around. I went with my ex-wife, and we went. Actually, back then, the Star Trek casino had just opened, and we were like the only ones in there. And there was Ferengis and Klingons, and it was just awesome. And there was like a mock-up of the Enterprise and stuff. It was just awesome. And I'm so glad I got to see it before it closed down. But yeah, we saw the Enterprise exhibit, and we went to Circus Circus, and we saw what do you call it? A Circus Circus had a circus exhibit. But when I went back, when I was alone doing my Vision Quest, I wanted to visit all states west of the Mississippi in 30 days. And I did that. And I had like $60,000. And I'm like, I'm going to rent a car with unlimited mileage. And I'm going to drive all throughout the states to find out where I want to live. And I ended up landing in Denver. And with whatever I had left over, I went to IKEA. I populated my entire house from IKEA in one visit, and had them deliver. And that's how I moved to Denver. And then like the first 6 months there, I didn't even have to work. And then the $60,000 ran out, and that's when I wrote the Beacon Star. So that's the story. But yeah, in the Vision Quest, I called it the Vision Quest because like everyone kept saying, you got to get out of Mason City. You're so depressed. You got to get out of Mason City. You got to find a mate. And in Denver, I did date two very wonderful women. But one whose name was Paper. But yeah, it was very much fun. And but in my Vision Quest, I did visit Vegas and Death Valley. I mean, I went everywhere in 30 days. Seattle, all the way down the coast. I did things that you would do on a Vision Quest. I swam in the Pacific Ocean. I looked into the Grand Canyon. I did so much on that trip. And I literally blew all my money. But I ended up moving to Denver. And but I did have, when I went to Vegas, I had like the best time because I didn't have to worry about like losing money. I had a set amount of money I was going to gamble with, and I played the slots, and I actually increased it. I almost doubled my money, and it was just so much fun. Did you have them put it together? I'm not sure what you're saying. But yeah, I went to Denver because I wanted to meet my friend, and this was before we knew each other. But she was like involved in a drug lord and stuff, and she didn't want me to get involved in all that. And then later on, she like escaped from him and then moved into my house, and that's how I met her. But she doesn't feel for me the same way I feel for her. I still have most of my IKEA furniture. I did buy some antique stuff. I have a wardrobe that was purchased on the day I was born, which is incredible. It's right here next to me. So yeah, it's like besides all my IKEA furniture, I have an antique desk that I bought, and I showed that in the video where I opened up the lock and I put everything in the slot, and 4 cat trees that I bought, my curio cabinet, but all these shelves behind me, all these are IKEA. All those are IKEA. Almost everything I have is IKEA. I'm way down. So, except for this wardrobe that I had since the day I was born, and I'm 56 now, 55. I don't even know how old I am. But yeah, this wardrobe was bought on the day I was born, and it came with a matching crib. The crib was lost when I was like 20, but I still have the wardrobe. I don't know if 50 years makes it an antique or vintage or what, but it's cherry wood. It's solidly built, and I love it. And but everything else I have is IKEA. Yeah, it was fun going to IKEA and saying, I want this couch, I want that shelf, I want that table, I want these end tables. And I mean, I just literally, I can't even remember how much I spent. It was like, I want to say it was like $3,000. They delivered it to my house, and I spent like 2 days setting everything up. And I had this neat table that bolted to the wall and folded up and then folded down because I lived in such a small place. That was the Lowry apartment that I talked about earlier. And then when I moved in here, I had old cat trees, and I was like, I'm going to buy 2 new cat trees. So now I got 4. I was going to get rid of the first 2, and I ended up with 4. The cats love. They climb up one cat tree and jump to the other, and I can't get rid of them. I sleep in a twin bed. People make fun of me of that. One of my girlfriends in Denver made fun of me for that. But I'm like, ooh, I like my twin bed. Anything else? Any last things? I'm going to have to turn it in because it's almost 1 o'clock. And I got to do roofing tomorrow. My daughter wants me to find out why her garage is leaking and figure out the best course of action for that. Chat seems quiet. I don't think there's been many things in chat. So anything else before I wrap it up? And I got just a swaller left. Hopefully I'll sleep tonight. I don't sleep more than 2 or 3 hours at a time. And I do have a CPAP machine. And they've threatened to take it away from me because, I mean, insurance is paying for it. But I only sleep 3 to 4 hours at a time. And they said if I don't use it for more than 4 hours a day, they'll take it away from me. Flower of Life hint. I can barely hold this book up. Flower of, oh, that one. Oh. I can't tell you anything about that one. If a puzzle hasn't even been mentioned in a chat or a forum or anything, I can't comment on it. Quality assurance tests. And I just broke my lamp off. And I'm working on another song. I'm working on a song called The Ghosts of Forest Fen. Sung to the tune of well, it's by the Dead South. I can't remember what their song is called. I hope I can find a karaoke version of it. I'm bummed that I just broke my light off. But, oh well. Anything else? I keep saying I'm going to sign off, but anything else going on in the chat you want me to comment on? Can't really talk about puzzles. I mean, this isn't an official video. I probably said too much already. We had high O2 levels at the K-Cups. Last swaller. That's a lot of rum to go through in a night. Oh. You know, my grandfather drank heavily. My father never drank at all. My grandfather did come from Russia, where they all drank heavily. I don't know, sometimes I just feel like I can drink anyone under the table. Good night, Lorraine. Good night, J Webb. I'm going to sign off. Good night, Kalazars, if you're still here. I hope you learned something. I think I'll do a video on the triangle puzzles, but you'll all hate me. You'll all hate me if I do a video on the triangle. All right, I'm out. You guys take care, and yeah, I'll try to announce where I am in Denver, and we'll try to get together. Good night, y'all.